Hello everybody, and welcome to Obey Gnome. This is the first in what will be a multi-part video series exploring all corners of the world of Tyria in Guild Wars 2. Today we're going to be tackling the Hexane Regrade jumping puzzle in Matrika Province. This is widely regarded as one of the more difficult jumping puzzles in the game, but with the tips and suggestions presented here, the more difficult sections of the puzzle can be nullified or skipped entirely, and it'll make it a much more palatable experience for all players. So we're going to start, naturally, in the Matrika Province. Heading directly east of the words on the map, we'll see the Quaddle Waypoint. And we're going to go south from there, hugging the cliff edge. There will be some sparkflies and jaguars along the way. The jaguars can be ignored completely, or if you're like me and realize they're chasing you, you can drop an AoE on the ground and let them run through it for some easy experience. As we're hugging the cliff edge, we're going to come to a section with the brush and trees growing along the side. This helps by marking the entrance to the hidden cave that the puzzle begins in. We'll come across some of the Asuran steps suspended in mid-air. I'm actually very interested in the Asuran architecture and the technology that they have. Even stone steps like these, which appear to be absolutely normal, appear to be defying the laws of physics entirely. I'm very interested in what causes that. If anyone understands the lore, or if they have any ideas about what may be being used there, I'd be very interested to read about it in the comments below. So we're going to make our way across the floating islands through a second cave full of lightning bugs. A little bit more fire. And here we have another section of floating Asura stepping stones. These are going to be a little trickier simply because falling will result in death, even with your falling damage reduced. Of course, you can always restart at the Quaddle Waypoint below, but it can get very frustrating if you're trying to rush through this and fall off repeatedly and have to restart, so it's definitely advised to take the jump slow and be sure of your footing. Once we make it up to the portal, we actually want to head to the right, and there's a small treasure chest at the entrance to the puzzle. I like to see this as sort of a consolation prize just for attempting this monstrosity. It gives a nice reward, usually of 2 blue items, that'll be appropriately leveled to your character. In order to progress through the Hexane Regrade, we have to attune ourselves to specific portals before going through those portals. As we can see over here, we have a path that moves forward and then to the left, to an obvious portal in the distance. That's actually not the portal we want to take first. That is the exit to this portion of the puzzle, but without proper attunement, it'll simply take us back to the beginning. So we'll make our way across the floating islands here. Again, I wonder what sort of gravitational anomaly causes an event like this. It's truly a spectacular place, but one just has to wonder. We're going to jump down carefully. These are positioned almost right on top of each other, and there's not really much foot space between the falls. I usually like to just jump down to this one. I find that to be easier than falling down. Either way will work fine. Here we have a vampire bat. There are a few enemies in the Hexane Regrade to contend with. Most of them are very slow and it's easy to avoid them. However, they are still very dangerous. If they get a single hit on your character, you'll be considered being in combat, and while in combat, your ability to run and jump will be hindered significantly. The enemies range between levels 13 and 15, and there are a couple of veterans included. So if you're not comfortable fighting veterans at that level, it might be a good idea to bring a friend for this puzzle. Once we make it to this portal, we'll see the attuner device, and we'll interact with it. The device hums and static electricity jumps from it to you. Yikes! You see here that added a buff to us. This buff lasts for 20 minutes and considers us tuned for a nearby Asura gate. This is what we need to progress through the puzzle. Heading through the nearby portal will take us to the middle of the section that we're in. We're going to jump on down to this floating island, and up here is where we began. So it puts us kind of in the middle of the puzzle, ready to progress. This wind can knock you off the edge. It's very easy to time it and just walk in between the time. As you see, there's a large gap between the wind here. However, there's another trick that makes it even easier, and that's the stability buff. Every class has access to a buff like this. It's Armor of Earth for the Elementalist. Stability allows you to ignore all control effects. That's anything that would knock you around or hold you in place. Now, since this wind wants to knock us off the edge, we're going to use stability to run past it without worry. Now, unfortunately, stability doesn't last long, only 6 seconds on this character and as little as 4 on some, so we won't be able to run past both of them. That would be very dangerous. Your buff will usually wear off in the middle, and you'll end up falling off the edge anyways. This one, we can actually time and count. What we're seeing here is one long breath of the wind. After this one is our safe chance to go, but just to show the cycle, we're going to wait here for a second. Now here we're going to have 2 short bursts meant to trick you. The pause after the short burst is not enough time to make it across unless you're using speed boosts, and even then it can be iffy. So waiting for the long gust before progressing is ideal. Alright, there's our cue. Gonna run right past the vampire bat. He takes so long to attack that he won't hinder our jumping there if we just continue forward. And we're going to mosey on up to this portal and progress to the second part of the puzzle. When you go through these portals, you'll find your character knocked flat for a few moments. It takes a little while to get back up. Now, this puzzle is one that I used to consider the most difficult part because of timing the jumps across the lightning. Just like with the monsters, when the lightning hits you, you're considered to be in combat and you won't make your jumps. However, I found that there's actually a trick to skip that entirely, and that takes advantage of this rocky outcrop over here. So we're going to run off the edge at an angle, jump onto the rocky outcrop, and then as we hop up, we can leap right down to this branch. And as you can see, that actually completely skipped the first lightning section of the puzzle. We're going to run down the tree branch and over a couple of more floating islands. I actually find these to be a lot easier than using the Asuran's stepping stones because there's more foot space to jump across. I've actually fallen off of this part less than I have just simply trying to get to the entrance to the dungeon. The veteran elementals like this will begin to guard the attunement points. There's no need to fight the elementals. You can actually run past, grab the attunement, and go. So we're just going to go forward, run right through them, attune ourselves quickly, and through the portal. Now normally what we would do is we would jump down here, back to this branch, and progress forward through that cave of wind. However, just like with the earlier puzzle with the lightning, there is an easier way past this. So we're going to jump off and allow it to reset us. Now this reset brings me to an interesting point. If you talk to the golem assistant here, he can transport you back to the station. The station on top is always the one that you just fell off of. It's very important to remember this because if I were to click Windy Station, it would actually erase my progress through Stormy Station and I would be required to start over. So let's head back to Stormy. And down here we see our attunement buff is still active. We've got 19 minutes left, which is ample time to progress through the puzzle. The attunement buff does persist even if you fall off the edge. It will not, however, persist if you die from the monsters fighting you. So again, if you're uncomfortable fighting veterans, it might be a good idea to try run passing them, then taking them on. We're going to jump at an angle back to this rocky outcrop. Up the side here. And we're completely skipping the wind tunnel, which is right down there, as well as another lightning jumping section. And with those jumps, we practically skip this entire section of the puzzle, and we can progress forward to the last section. Alright, here we are at the last section of the jumping puzzle. Unlike the section before with the lightning, there's no easy way to skip the tricks and traps of this puzzle. Thankfully, it is more about patience than it is about timing. What we have to do here is wait for the chilly wind to end, and we're going to jump 2, maybe 3 times before the wind blows again. It'll give you the chilled status effect. This slows you down and prevents you from jumping. You won't be able to make many of the jumps with it. So just wait here. Watch out for that red snowflake icon in the corner down there. That'll let you easily tell whether or not it's safe to jump. Got a little gust of wind here, just like in the first section. We'll just wait for it to stop and jump on by. Now the ice elementals here, I don't like them very much. They are pretty slow to attack and it is possible to run past them, however I generally recommend fighting them. The reason is that they do have a long aggro range. It can hit you when you're in a different area. So if I were to run past this guy and jump down, he might still be able to hit me, and that would mess me up on a future jump unexpectedly. So we're going to hop over and take care of him. Preferably not in lightning. The damage there is just horrendous. And success. So instead of progressing up and over to the end portal, we want to get ourselves attuned. We're going to head underneath these little hidden jumping rocks. And past the vampire bats. Like the other bats, that one's too slow to be much of a problem. Now up here we have a veteran ice elemental. He can hit you as you're jumping over to get to him, but as long as you're consistently jumping, he won't be fast enough to strike you. If you stop to time some of your jumps though, he'll knock you off the edge. Just like with the air elemental, we're going to try to run past him and grab the attunement without a fight. Alright, we've been attuned. We're going to jump down these arrows here. Try to time this jump. I actually end up missing it quite often. I'm hoping that doesn't happen here. Oh, that was fabulous. Alright. Another ice elemental. We'll just kill him quickly. Shouldn't be much of an issue. There's more chilly wind here. I prefer to wait for it before making the first jump, just in case it blows while you're in mid-air and you fall. It's rather convenient that that portal there places us near the end, but if you fall, you don't have that convenience anymore, and you will have to start over. Ooh, that almost took me. And that time it did. Alright, we'll just talk to our golem assistant and head right back to the chilly station. Wait for it. Jump, and on the third one, the wind will blow. If you're not comfortable with that, it's perfectly okay to stop on the second one and take it a little slower. If your jumps aren't consistently timed, then that wind will blow at just the wrong time and knock you off before you can make the third jump. Alright, it's gone, and here we go. Watching out for the wind again. Let's see if we can just run past this guy. This elemental's still dead. Since the other one respawned, that one should be respawning soon, so we'll just get out of there before he has a chance. And we're almost to the home stretch of the puzzle. That portal there is going to lead us to the fourth section. There's no chilly wind here, it's just regular jumping platforms. This can be a bit of a long jump. If you don't have a speed boost, it can be tricky. I would suggest going for this corner over here. That seems to be the shortest distance I found. Jumping straight on that one tends to lead to missing it and falling off. You can kind of see how the cliff edge is curved right here, and your feet will miss it just barely. Alright, the last portion of our puzzle here is Goem's lab. Inside of this large building is a level 15 veteran boss. It is often necessary to defeat him in order to progress. He'll hit you very quickly and make sure that you can't make the last jumps if you don't. So we'll make our way slowly across here. More funs are in stepping stones. The jumps themselves aren't too difficult. They're not outside of the character's range and definitely don't require speed boost of any kind. But just remember that with these, there's not very much space to put your feet. And Goem the Mad. I'm going to see if we can run directly past them. If not, of course, we'll stand around and fight. Let's switch this to something that's a little bit more viable for combat. How about the Frostbow? I do enjoy the Frostbow. So past him is the treasure chest in the last portal, and there's the boss himself. Oh, looks like he's level 14, my mistake. And let's go. Okay, it sounds like he started to cast something, but oh, that was fabulous. We made it past him without a fight. We'll open our grand chest to get our reward. If you've never done this puzzle before, when you make it to this point, you'll also receive the achievement as soon as you jump on the platform with this chest. And we will head through this portal to make our way right back to Matrika Province. Alright, it deposits us right next to the Quaddle waypoint over here where we started, so you can continue on your adventures as normal. That does conclude this video, jumping through the Hexane Regrade jumping puzzle with the tips and tricks provided here. Hopefully you'll find it to be a much more palatable experience and a puzzle that's no longer a nightmare. It'll also make you a big help to your newer guildies. If they're having difficulty with the puzzle, you can come through and show them some tricks. I know that in the second section with the lightning, some people are very impressed with the ability to pass it immediately. Alright, well, thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to comment and subscribe to our channel for more future videos on Guild Wars 2. We definitely plan on covering more jumping puzzles, as well as taking a look at many of the big world bosses, and a look at some of the mechanics that go on behind the scenes, and how to make a great character build by understanding the math behind the game. Along with that, we may also be looking at doing Let's Play videos that will cover completing world exploration across the map, as well as leveling from level 1 to 80. So be sure to comment, subscribe, chat back in. Let me know if there's any particular jumping puzzle or area of the game that you're having problems with, and I'll make a video. Thanks again for watching.